Welcome to Ultra Running Diaries episode 5. Today we are just leaving Coniston and we are heading out on the first 35 miles ish of the Lakeland 100 route towards Keswick. So bit of a change of scenery. Over there in front of me, that's not where we're going, but the mountain is draped in cloud. The weather forecast today is appalling. We're expecting a lot of rain, so I expect big chunks of this video will be me hiding in my coat. Right now it's alright, it's very humid. There are suggestions that could be thunderstorms later. That wouldn't surprise me because we are less than 20 minutes in. It's pretty much all been uphill walking, not much running yet, and yeah, I'm drenched in sweat already. So I think it's going to be a very wet day all round. So 45 minutes in, just about 5k and about 350 meters of elevation. So far no rain. Over there looks pretty good. Unfortunately we're not going that way, we're going that way. Looks considerably less good, so we shall see. So just come through the first, what will be first checkpoint on the day, about 11 kilometers in an hour and a half. It's slow going, and my quads are already pretty fucked. So yeah, that's first thing to add to the training list is lots more strength training, particularly focusing on the quads for the downhills, because that was, I mean, we spent an hour and 10 minutes going up and 15 minutes coming down the same elevation. It's steep, it's technical, it's just about practice, but the dealing with the gradient, having the strength in the legs is all gym work, so gotta get on that. So sticks are out, just come up another reasonable climb, about 8 miles in now. The pace we're making today at the moment is about 25-hour pace for the 400. Pretty sure couldn't maintain this for another 23 hours. I mean, we're not going all out by any means, but it's a long time and some very, very big climbs to come. The biggest climbs in the second half of the course. We're not actually going to run it this weekend. I've done it a couple of times before and it's nasty, it goes on forever. So far though, the rain hasn't arrived. It's actually bright sunshine. Kind of wishing I hadn't dropped the sunglasses in the car and had bought some sun cream with me, because there's some pretty epic views and I am worried I'm going to get back looking a bit like a lobster. So right now I feel a bit like an asthmatic pug trying to keep up with 2 mountain goats. Every now and then I'll do that, slow down a bit, I'll catch up to them a little bit, and then they go again. This is hard work. We're around about 10.5 miles in, 2.5 hours. And yeah, this is just come through a big boggy section. It's sort of stuff you just don't get in the Chilterns. Case in point, trying to keep the feet dry. It's a little bit steep. This is proper break your ankle territory, slash blow up your quads territory. I feel like I have done a seriously heavy leg day already, and we're only 18k in. What's that? 11 miles. So another 24 to go today. Best part of the marathon left. So just come through Eskdale Mill, which is the second checkpoint on the route. Obviously it's not a checkpoint today. Just stop in the pub, get a quick coke. I'm going about 3.5 hours for 14 miles, over 14 miles. The rain hasn't come yet. Kind of hoping it does because it's fucking hot. But yeah, so we've got a bit of a climb now. We get around the corner. Yeah, up here. It keeps going past that gate. We're heading towards Wasdale Head, which will be the next checkpoint on the route. It's in about 5 miles time. It's going to be a slow 5 miles. We're all getting quite tired now, and it's 5 miles uphill. So yeah, all fun and games. Perked up a bit now. It's funny how that happens. We're about 20 miles or so in now, and around 5 hours. So yeah, pretty much better. We are currently in Wasdale, coming through Wasdale, which, if you have ever or do ever go up Scarfell Pike, this is probably where you'll come from. It's the most popular starting location if you ever do the National Three Peaks, which is Scarfell Pike, Snowdon and Ben Nevis. Then this is the standard start location is Cot Park back there. You normally come here in the middle of the night, but yeah, so this is Wasdale. We are now heading up towards Blacksail Pass, which is second or third biggest climb on the course, I think. That's the whole 100-mile course, not just what we're doing today. Come over that towards Eskdale, and then Buttermere. Buttermere is about 25 miles in, so marathon sort of point, and that's so about a quarter of the way through the whole race. So yeah, kind of ticking the miles off a bit now, and the mountain goats are starting to pull away in front a little bit, so I should probably start running. Well, GoPro battery's down to 4%, so this may well be the last video for day one, but we are now about 40k in, just coming down alongside Buttermere, which is that, towards Buttermere village. There is a checkpoint, or there will be a checkpoint in Buttermere, don't know which one, 5th, 6th, 4th, something like that, kind of lost count now. So yeah, 40k, about 7 hours, yeah, about 7 hours. It's been a long hard day. I'd like to think there's only about 15-20k left. We'll be done in a couple of hours, but could well be more than that. I think it's about 15k. Could be 3 hours, 2-3 hours. So yeah, keep plodding along. And just like that, it's 4 days later, and I'm no longer in the Lake District. So as expected, GoPro batteries died in Buttermere, so that was 25-26 miles in. We did another 9-10 miles after that. Run finished about 35, so had one really hellish climb out of Buttermere, going up Sail Pass and over towards Braithwaite. Braithwaite being the home of the only lake in the Lake District. Bit trivia for you there. So yeah, it was about 600 meters of climbing in those last 10 miles. So it was a real slog. And the heavens finally opened then as well, only for about 10-15 minutes, but that was enough to get completely drenched. Jesus, slippery here today as well. Yeah, so that was the rest of what was going to be day one of the Lakeland 100 recce. And yeah, so we finished, well, after we made the climb out of Buttermere over Sail Pass into Braithwaite, it was a couple of miles, if that, along the road into Keswick, and then the drive back to finish off what was a very long day. So yeah, that first day, as I call it, from Coniston to Keswick was meant to be day one of 2, with day 2 going from Keswick to Dalmain. As it turned out, for a few reasons which I'll go into in a second, day 1 of 2 ended up being day 1 of 1. So yeah, the reasons basically that Coniston to Keswick we were expecting to take about 7 to 8 hours for the 35 miles. Ended up taking 9.5, I think, maybe more than that, maybe closer to 10, but yeah, a lot more than 7 to 8. And yeah, it took a lot more out of us than we were anticipating. Both Rob and I said both of us had done the Lakeland 50 last year, which is basically the second half of the Lakeland 100 route. Both of us said that first 35 miles of the route is tougher than the whole 50 route elevation wise. It's about 2,500 meters and big climbs in there, up Walnascarga and up the Old Man of Coniston, Sail Pass, Black Sail Pass. These are big climbs, and the smaller climbs in there as well are significantly bigger than anything I get around here. So yeah, it took more out of us than expected. Then you go through a lot of peat bogs. Very hard to keep your feet dry when it's been raining as much as it has, and the first of the bogs are very early on. So wet feet, for me anyway, proved to be a recipe for disaster. I had some serious issues with blisters during the day, and blisters aren't something I normally have an issue with. And Rob's been nursing a bit of a knee injury, which he had strapped up from the start of the day, and that was playing up as we went as well. So we just decided that another day out in the fells was likely to do more harm than good. So we called it at the end of that first day. So even though it was only one day, there's still a lot I can take from that day going into the run at the end of July. So I mentioned the strength side of things, and basically I can go up the hills all right, not as fast as Rob or Owen, but I wouldn't expect to be. They're local to the Lake District. They go up those kinds of ascents all the time. I just don't have anything around here that remotely compares to it, but I can still keep putting one foot in front of the other and making my way up there without completely burning out. Where I really fell short was the descents, both in terms of the technical nature. Just not used to those really rocky mountain descents, and that's something that I'm not really going to be able to improve between now and the end of July, realistically. But the strength side of things, something I really need to work on. I need to really be strengthening my quads between now and then, because I mean, it's 4 days later, I can still feel the DOMs in my quads from 35 miles. They were pretty done after about 10, which leaves a long way and a lot of descending still to go in the race, so lots to work on in that sense. But you know, there are positives as well. I've done the majority of the night section, or first night section, so navigation will be a bit easier. Obviously I won't remember every path and every turn, but I won't need to be constantly staring at a map to find my way around, so that's good. And yeah, I've got a more realistic idea in terms of the time it's likely to take now. When I first signed up to the race, I knew not finishing was a very real possibility. I've said that to a number of people. Only about 50% of starters actually finish, so you know, there's a 1 in 2 chance that I won't finish. But I think in my head I have kind of just got to a point where I'm like, well, I won't be the statistic. Whereas this weekend has hammered home that actually this is a seriously hard race. There's a reason it's known as probably the toughest in the country, and I'm going to have to be as fit and as strong as I've ever been to get around it. So I think that was a good wake-up call, and I'm glad to have had it and not be going into the race well, blind, I guess. As for negatives, I don't know if there are any real big negatives. I had a wake-up call about nutrition. Didn't get that right over the weekend and suffered as a result, as you saw from the footage from when I was actually up there. But that's just not taking a recce as seriously as I take a race, and also not being tapered and arriving the night before and all that kind of stuff. So things were all, the whole weekend was a bit rushed in the end, really, and I paid the price for that. Yeah, the only big down at the moment is there's still about 20 miles of the route that I haven't been on. And I mean, I think maybe I'll be able to do a flying visit and run from Keswick to Dalmain, but it's unlikely. Probably going to have to leave that bit as done now, or undone I should say. I have done part of it in the past, just as part of another run I did last year, and that will be in the kind of as the sun's coming up, and so navigation won't be so difficult, as it won't be dark, and it's a lot more straightforward than what we did at the weekend, and it doesn't have there are a couple of reasonable climbs in there, but nothing like what we were doing on Saturday. So there's probably just going to be something I'm going to have to leave undone and live with. Plenty of people won't have run any of the course, so and there'll be other people out there to follow. Everyone will be helping each other along. 100 miles is a long way. Very few people are going to be out there in it solely for themselves and not require any kind of words of encouragement from anyone at any point during the race. So that's it for this video, really. That's the recce. I won't leave it a month between videos this time, because I've got the North Downs Way 50 miler in just over a week. Probably won't film the actual race, but I'll do a bit of a before and after, go into kind of kit and nutrition a bit more. So yeah, that's in about 10 days time, so probably have a video out in a couple of weeks. For now, yeah, for now, thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. Any questions, any topics you'd like me to cover in future videos, just stick them in the comments below. For now, I'll speak to you next time. Goodbye.